We started with 250 widows 11 years ago. And we were able to, God was faithful to his promise.
Little drops of water make the mighty ocean. Executive Director of Widows and Orphans Empowerment Organization, WIWI, recounting how one of Nigeria's foremost non-governmental organizations started out in the quest to bring relief to some of the most vulnerable groups in society. Dr. Josephine Ogazi-Egwuonwu is a woman living between heaven's inspired kindness and philanthropy that is traceable to her solid Christian upbringing. She holds a doctorate in agronomy taken from the University of Ibadan in 2003. But at this meeting with widows in her church, she could have passed as one of the regular community women living a simple life in a simple neighborhood. She mentions her background.
My name is Josephine Ogazi-Egwuonwu. By the grace of God, I am a Nigerian born in Imo State.
But as these women jubilate over the activities of a woman who has brought succor into their lives as widows, there is need to point out that Dr. Ogazi-Egwuonwu's philanthropy did not start from NGO funding. The woman was told by her father that she would lead women sometime in her life, a calling she eventually commenced from a humble circumstance. Now, this sounds simple, but it isn't. Dr. Ogazi-Egwuonwu started her Succor to the Needy enterprise by, wait for it, robbing Peter to pay Paul. This sounds strange, doesn't it? The woman has a confession to make.
When I would get a consultancy or a job and they ask me to travel, I would say, okay, I would quote for car hire, 40,000 naira a day. And then I would suffer myself and I would collect the money, I would suffer myself and take public transport, maybe 5,000. I remember those days in Ibadan. So I will now have to write a receipt of 40,000 when really the transportation, I really struggled and suffered myself. So I used to console myself that I'm raising the resources I needed to help the less privileged, especially when I finish the assignment and I see the widow's tears wiped away. I felt I was doing the right thing. Then that day came, I had taken a taxi, 2,500 naira. I've written down 40,000 car hire. I was just about to write the receipt. I heard a clear voice. That was my experience. Stop. These resources that you are raising for widows, do you want to do it by yourself? Do you want to raise resources in your own way, or do you want me to help you to raise these resources for the widow? I said, Lord, I think it's better if you are the one that helps me raise these resources for the widows. Then he said, put down that pen. Don't write that fake receipt. That is, I was committing sin to do what is right, which the Holy Spirit convicted me. From that day, I remember clearly, I still see myself in the mirror, hearing that voice of God. I said, no, I will no longer do what is wrong to do what is right.
Some individuals work well sometimes when morality imposes circumstantial goodness on them. But for Josephine Ogazi-Egwuonwu, as a child, there was fertile ground to grow up on. Good parentage facilitated a good upbringing, and a good dose of God in early life went a long way in pointing where her life should be headed.
And one of the significance of my birth was that the Reverend Sister noticed that during the war, male children were the only ones in the ward that were being born for a long period. So everybody in hospital was desiring that, would there not be a woman, a girl child? And that night, I came. And all the Reverend Sisters in the hospital rejoiced. Wow, we have a lady. And one elderly Reverend Sister, German Reverend Sister, said, the significance of my coming means that I will be a woman leader after a long line of male leaders.
As beneficiaries from Dr. Ogazi-Egwuonwu's efforts sing and dance in gratitude to God for giving them one who cares, a short list of her rather massive NGO activities will reveal that WIWI has supported and empowered 64,064 widows and intervened in 2,885 cases of gender-based violence. That's besides its efforts to lift orphans from misery imposed by harsh realities of life. As this woman of great faith in God told her story, she advises uprightness, noting that things started getting profoundly better when she stopped cutting corners and left it all to God to handle.
It's better to trust the Lord and do what is right to achieve your goal rather than help yourself through cutting corners, through doing things that are not right to achieve your goal.
Dr. Ogazi-Egwuonwu took up the issue of decent persons being treated by society as if they are the ones who owe society an apology. She says it is time for men and women of honor to team up and resist attitudes that seem to ridicule goodness and noble behavior. The endorsement that follows the inquiry into the life of Dr. Josephine Ogazi-Egwuonwu is clearly gratifying.
She don't want anyone to lie. Anything lying, she don't tolerate such things. And she don't want tears to be coming out from anyone that is in need. I will pray for more grace and more inflow in our life.
The trail of succor to the needy continues for this unrelenting care provider. It's a demanding job, but Dr. Josephine Ogazi-Egwuonwu found out long ago that her faith-inspired assignment and creed of goodness were never ever going to be an easy trip. Beneficiaries from her WIWI project wish her well. Dr. Ogazi-Egwuonwu has Providence to thank for thus far granting her heart's desires and fulfillment of purpose.